A U.S. media report suggests North Korea has begun transferring artillery to Russia as a follow-up to last month's Kim-Putin meeting. We take a look at what ramifications it'll bring later down the line if confirmed to be true. Over in Hangzhou, Korean archers beat their Chinese rivals to win gold in the women's team event, marking the 7th gold in a row. A Russian missile attack has reportedly taken the lives of dozens of civilians in Ukraine's northeast. The president of the war-torn country, in the meantime, says he is confident of U.S. financial aid amid political controversy in Washington. It's October 6, 2023. This is News Center. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Yoon Jung-min. Our top story this evening. North Korea has begun transferring artillery to Russia for its war in Ukraine as a follow-up to last month's Kim-Putin meeting. That's according to a U.S. media report. Our defense correspondent Lee Gyun-ryong takes a look at what ramification it could bring if confirmed to be true.
North Korea has reportedly begun transferring artillery to Russia, supporting Moscow's war in Ukraine. Citing a U.S. official, CBS on Thursday reported that North Korea's support for Moscow appears to be the culmination of the rare summit between Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin held in Russia last month. However, the news outlet noted that it was not immediately clear whether the transfer was part of a new long-term supply chain or a more limited consignment. South Korea's unification ministry said Friday that it is looking closely into the situation.
There is nothing specific to confirm regarding North Korea's cooperation with Russia. However, there have been recent movements between Russia and North Korea, causing concern in the international community. We are closely monitoring the situation in this regard.
It is still unclear what North Korea is getting in return for the weapons. However, after the summit last month, the Russian leader hinted that he and Kim discussed military cooperation. And moving forward, eyes are on whether Russia will help North Korea build more advanced satellites and rockets. This comes as North Korea is expected to make a third attempt to launch a military spy satellite in October.
North Korea announced that it would launch a third attempt in October. The government is not making any predictions about the launch date and is preparing for all possibilities through close cooperation with relevant ministries.
Seoul and Washington have warned Pyongyang that it would pay a price if such exchanges were to take place, noting that any arms deal between the two would be a violation of multiple UN Security Council resolutions. Big repercussions are expected if the allegations of North Korea's weapons transfer turn out to be true, as it would mean that North Korea ignored warnings from the U.S. to support Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The U.S. Department of Defense has yet to comment on the matter, but pundits anticipate that it will make additional measures if a clear movement is detected in the future. Choi Min-jung, Arirang News.
A Russian missile attack has reportedly killed 51 civilians in Ukraine's northeast. In the meantime, President Zelenskyy says he is optimistic about U.S. support amid controversy in Washington as he has met with European leaders. Jung Eun-ju has more.
A Russian missile hit a cafe and grocery store in a village in northeastern Ukraine on Thursday, killing at least 51 people. The regional governor said the village was struck early in the afternoon in Rosa in the Kharkiv region, adding that many civilians had been there at the time. Ukraine's interior minister said residents had been holding a memorial service in the cafe that was hit. The attack was the deadliest in the Kharkiv region since Russia's invasion and appeared to be one of the biggest civilian death tolls in any single Russian strike. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said on Thursday that the Russian terror should be stopped. Moscow did not immediately comment on the events in Rosa. Meanwhile, President Zelenskyy met with several European leaders on Thursday at the European Political Community Summit in Granada, Spain. The forum was established last year following Russia's invasion of Ukraine to foster cooperation among more than 40 countries from Norway to Albania. President Zelenskyy met with French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, and British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, who restated their commitment to Ukraine. Political turbulence in both the U.S. and Europe has raised questions about continued support for Ukraine. President Zelenskyy admitted he was concerned, but also said he was optimistic about continued support. He further added that Europe has to support the United States during a tough period.
So, the situation with the United States is dangerous. Yes, it's a tough period for the United States, and of course it's a tough period for Ukraine, but since first days of full-scale war, we didn't have easy time. So we are ready for any tough period.
A dispute among the Republican majority in the U.S. House of Representatives has complicated budget negotiations and prompted U.S. President Joe Biden to go from confidence that a deal will be made on Ukraine aid to openly expressing concern. Chung Eun-ju, Arirang News.
Back in this country, the opposition-led National Assembly voted not to give consent to appoint Lee Gyun-ryong to the position of Chief Justice of the nation's Supreme Court. It's the first rejection of its kind in more than 30 years, leaving the seat vacant for even longer. Our political correspondent Lee Si-hoo reports.
The National Assembly voted at a plenary session on Friday not to give consent for the appointment of Lee Gyun-ryong as the Supreme Court's next Chief Justice. There were 118 votes in favor, 175 against, and 2 abstentions among the 295 lawmakers present. Currently, the main opposition Democratic Party holds 168 seats out of 298 in the Assembly, while the ruling People Power Party has 111. For consent to be given, a majority of elected lawmakers must be present at the session, and of these, a majority must approve the motion. The disapproval of the motion for consent leaves the seat of the Supreme Court Chief Justice empty for the first time in 35 years. It also requires the candidate nomination process to start over, which means it would be at least a month before the seat can be filled. The DP has repeatedly called Lee unqualified, questioning the history of his personal assets creation and his conservative judgments as a judge.
Putting an unqualified person at the head of the judiciary branch will bring a bigger side effect of distrust in the justice system. What the president and the ruling party should do is apologize for failing in its personnel verification and withdraw the nomination.
The PPP called for active cooperation from the DP, highlighting the urgent need to fill the seat to prevent any further delays in the court's hearings.
Even if the ruling and opposition parties confront each other on political issues, they should cooperate so that the constitutional system can operate normally.
Right after the vote, the PPP held a rally protesting the decision. The presidential office said it deeply regretted the rejection of a qualified judge, which would lead to a long-term vacancy in the judicial branch. Meanwhile, the assembly also voted to give mothers the option of anonymous births. This right is intended to prevent them from giving birth outside of hospitals since the passing of a bill in June that required hospitals to report the birth of newborns to a government agency to prevent possible abuse of unregistered children. It also passed a bill to make public photographs of certain criminals at the time of their arrest, rather than those taken some time ago. Lee Si-hoo, Arirang News.
President Yoon Suk-yeol has promised stronger financial and systematic support for school teachers as part of his drive to protect their human rights and authority in the classroom. Yoon this week met with 20 kindergarten to grade 12 teachers from across the country, saying he would raise allowances for homeroom teachers by more than 50% and 100% for master's teachers to compensate for their hard work in nurturing the future generation. He pledged to heed the voice of teachers when implementing key revisions to laws aimed at enhancing their rights and authority in the classroom. This came after a series of suicides by school teachers prompted nationwide protests by teaching staff who pointed the finger at their lack of authority in the classroom, as they say it makes them susceptible to mistreatment by some students and parents. Last month, the National Assembly pushed through 4 key revisions to the Elementary and Secondary Education Act to help prevent infringement of the rights of teachers. Games go on until the Hangzhou Asian Games comes to a finale this weekend. For the latest, our sports reporter Choi Soo-hyung joins us live. Soo-hyung, Team Korea was once again proven to be the best in archery.
Yes, Jungmin, Team Korea claimed another gold medal in archery in the women's team event. As each day in the archery events passes, Korea keeps adding more medals. Earlier today, Korea's women's team secured gold in recurve archery. The trio of Im Si-hyun, Choi Min-sun, and An San beat China with a set score of 5-3, marking Korea's 7th Asian gold medal in a row. Also, this is the second gold in archery in these Asian Games, following Wednesday's mixed doubles event that Im competed in with Lee Gyun-ryong. Im has become a double gold medalist in the Hangzhou Games. She will also compete for gold in the women's individual recurve archery final against teammate An San on Saturday, which guarantees Korea the two spots. Korea has dominated the women's team event, never failing to win since the 1998 Asian in Bangkok. Moving on to badminton. Earlier today, Korea claimed a bronze medal in the mixed doubles with the duo of Seo Seung-jae and Choi Yoo-jung. In this Asian, both semi-final losers received bronze medals, and there are no bronze medal matches in badminton. They lost to China's Zhang Si-wei and Hwang Ya-chung in a set score of 2-1 in their semi-final. The Korean duo failed to reach the quarterfinals at the 2018 Asian, but they have finished this tournament with the bronze medal. Korea's baseball team beat China 8-1 to reach the final, aiming for a 4th straight gold in the Asian Games. For this, Korea must defeat Chinese Taipei in the final, a team they lost against 4-0 in a preliminary round game on Monday. There are also more exciting matches scheduled for today. There is, at this moment, an ongoing men's hockey bronze medal match against China, which started at 5 p.m. Also, Korea's renowned sports climber Chun Jong-won and rising star Lee Do-hyun will both compete in the gold medal match at 7:35 p.m. Korea time. They finished their semi-finals in 2nd and 4th place respectively, while Japan took the lead. Ahead in tomorrow's big matches, highly anticipated finals in badminton, hockey and football will take place, with Team Korea aiming for additional gold medals. South Korea's men's team advanced to the Asian final, seeking their 3rd consecutive gold medal against Japan. Korea defeated Uzbekistan 2-1 in the semi-final, thanks to midfielder Chung Woo-young's brace of goals. Team Korea beat Japan in the 2018 Asian and took the gold, and they will again face off with each other on Saturday at 9 p.m. Korea time. Badminton star An Se-young reached the women's singles final, the first time for a Korean in 29 years, defeating China's He Bing-zhao in her semi-final match today. The final is tomorrow at 3 p.m. In women's hockey, Korea will face China for gold tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. after 9 years of waiting, following a thrilling 4-3 shootout victory over Japan in yesterday's semi-final. These Asian Games in Hangzhou have only 2 days left, so here's wishing the very best luck to Team Korea and hoping all our players finish their Asian journey safely and with joy. Let's take a look at the medal standings.
The UAE sees South Korea as a potential partner in achieving net zero. That's according to the UAE's energy minister, as he spoke with our reporter Park Go-nu ahead of the upcoming COP28 in Dubai.
The United Arab Emirates is on its way to achieving net zero carbon emissions and sees South Korea as a potential partner to be able to do so. UAE's Minister of Energy and Infrastructure explained how.
UAE have announced that it's tripling its capacity, renewable energy capacity, together with the nuclear capacity that we have built together with Korea. We believe that UAE will have a clean energy contribution of up to 30% by the year 2030 and 38% by the year 2035. And that's put us on track to achieve net zero by 2050.
He also added UAE plans to produce and globally export hydrogen, especially clean hydrogen, possibly to Korea.
We will be hopefully producing 1.4 million tons of hydrogen, and maybe we will be exporting some of that to Korea one day. So we look forward to collaborate with the whole world during COP to ensure that everyone is doing his part to achieve sustainability.
As the host of COP28, which starts at the end of November, the UAE aims to unite the world on climate change.
What we promised to bring together is the largest COP ever. It's going to have to be diversified. Every voice will be heard.
The minister also commented on the current oil prices and how OPEC Plus tries to deal with them.
We are trying to balance the supply and demand, and the price is a result. Sometimes it's not up to us to decide the price.
While saying underinvestment is a bigger problem, he ended by saying UAE will expand its oil production capacity in the future.
We would require an investment in the level of $500 billion every year to replace what we lose and to bring more resources to meet the growth in demand. And we are raising our production capacity to the level of 5 million barrels by the year 2027 instead of 2030, just to ensure that our customers in Korea and in the East are getting the resources they require in the medium to long term.
Meanwhile, the Abu Dhabi International Petroleum Exhibition and Conference, one of the largest events specializing in the oil and gas industries, ended Thursday under the theme of decarbonizing faster together. Speakers, including ministers and the CEOs of major oil firms, gathered to discuss ways to phase out fossil fuels. Park Gonu, Arirang News.
It is Friday, and we are back with our weekly arts and culture segment. Our culture correspondent Song Yujin joins us in the studio. Great to see you back here in the studio, Yujin.
Happy to be back here, Jungmin.
What do you have for us today?
Well, Jungmin, as you know, I just got back from the Busan International Film Festival, BIF as it's also known. And this year, 209 films from 69 countries have been invited for official screenings. So while I was in Busan, I was thinking about which film I wanted to talk to you about. And I decided that I really wanted to capture what BIF is all about, which is its mission to build a solid foundation to boost the Asian film industry. So let's first take a look at what this year's BIF has to offer. It's not just star-studded red carpets and prestigious awards that define the Busan International Film Festival. Since it began in 1996, BIF has had a clear mission: to promote Asian films to the world. This mission has gained more importance in recent years as Asian cinema, once overshadowed by Europe and Hollywood, has stepped into the limelight. Martin Derwan, founder and director of Europe's oldest Asian film festival, has witnessed this transformation firsthand.
I've been going to the Cannes Film Festival for 25 years, and these days I feel incredibly proud to see Asian films making their mark, winning awards at Cannes.
For Asian filmmakers and actors, BIF offers them a chance to showcase their creations to a global audience. Like the world-premiering movie The Scavenger of Dreams. This film shows the lives of a family of waste collectors in India and touches on bureaucracy, discrimination, and the wealth gap.
There's a section of society we, not consciously, but we just turn a blind eye. I just want, honestly to portray their life. And I always believe, for me, filmmaking is an exercise in empathy.
Another noteworthy debut, Doi Boy. Through the main character who's a massage therapist at a gay massage parlor, the film sheds light on pressing socio-political issues in Thailand, like ethnic minorities, undocumented immigrants, and sex workers. As each Asian country has its unique cinematic color, more platforms like BIFF are needed to showcase this rich diversity.
The varied original voices coming out of India, coming out of Hong Kong, coming out of Taiwan, coming out of Korea, is mind-blowing, and it is a testament to the fact that there is an original lens that we have towards cinema that is being appreciated by the world, the way we've appreciated French New Wave or German New Wave or Iranian New Wave.
As an actors or even for the film directors, we still need like more support, but I think it's getting better since we can connect to Asian filmmakers or film festival, and we have more platform to share our story.
Just like every other year, this year's BIFF serves as a gateway for these stories to reach a wider audience.
You know what? I can't agree more that film festivals like BIFF will play a crucial role in bringing Asian cinema to the forefront. And Eugene, you have been following all the stories there. What caught your attention?
Well, Tommy, there was one particular highlight yesterday because yesterday, as you know, was World Korean Day. So BIFF managed to hold the so-called Korean Diasporic Cinema Program, which showcased Korean-American related films, directors, and actors. So Korean-American directors Lee Isaac-chung and Justin Chun, along with actors Steven Yeun and John Cho, held an engaging open talk session with the audience where they shared their insights about their films and their journeys in the film industry. So this program ends today, featuring screenings of films like Minari, Fast Lives, Jamojaya, and Burning.
That is really meaningful. I also heard that streaming services are making a significant impact at this year's BIFF.
You're right, Jongmin. So this year, BIFF is screening multiple streaming service originals. So for example, the movie Netflix's Believer 2 just had its world premiere yesterday. But this is not all, because BIFF is going to hold the first Asia Contents Awards and Global OTT Awards just this Sunday. So its predecessor, the Asia Contents Awards, used to recognize TV and streaming service content only from Asia. But starting from this year, it has expanded its award coverage worldwide.
Great coverage. Thank you, Eugene.
Thank you.
For this long weekend, typical autumn weather conditions will prevail. Until tomorrow, morning conditions will stay quite chilly, causing big contrast in daily temperatures. On Sunday and Monday, which is Hangul Day, readings will hover around the seasonal average. In the meantime, a rain system will bring showers for parts of the east and the south. Jeju Island will see 5 to 40 millimeters. Eastern Gangwon-do Province will see 5 to 30. The south coast can expect up to 20 millimeters. Showers are forecast to last until this Sunday. For regions with higher elevations, dense layers of fog will build up for the morning hours. Heavy fog might reduce visibility significantly, so please drive with extra caution. For the south coast and Jeju Island, gusty winds are in the forecast this weekend. Secure any items that could get blown away. And morning temperatures in Seoul will be starting off at 12 degrees Celsius. Partly cloudy to overcast skies are expected for the daytime. Highs in Seoul, Daejeon, and Gwangju will peak at 22 degrees. Gyeongju and Busan will be making it to 23 degrees Celsius. Starting on Sunday, morning temperatures will be on a cooling trend. After this long weekend, clear skies are expected in Seoul. It's all for now, and here are the weather conditions around the world.
That is News Center for tonight. Thank you for watching. A panel session coming up.
Welcome. 엄청난 에너지를 춤으로 뿜어내는 나라. 감당할 수 있겠니? 한국에 오면 먹어야죠. 먹어도 끝이 없는 나라. 감당할 수 있겠니?
Hello, I'm Ernei Müller, Ambassador of Slovenia to the Republic of Korea. Right now, I see Korea shining in the world. Korea has many strengths, and the global presence is already here. Slovenia will continue to establish the presence in the international scene. This is also one of the reasons why we opened the embassy in Korea last year. I always thank Arirang TV for playing a big role in promoting Korean information to the world so that many people can access Korean content and get to know all aspects of Korean culture. I hope that people around the world will continue to communicate and sympathize with Korea. Resonating the world, Arirang.
Busan, Korea is... It's Busan, the perfect World Expo city. Transforming our world, navigating toward a better future. Welcome. (24시간) 불이 꺼지지 않는 나라. 감당할 수 있겠니? Welcome. 엄청난 에너지를 춤으로 뿜어내는 나라. 감당할 수 있겠니? 한국에 오면 먹어야죠. 먹어도 먹어도 끝이 없는 나라. 감당할 수 있겠니?
Hello everyone, it's Friday and you're watching Within the Frame. I'm Kim Bo-kyung. The 19th Asian Games, which finally kicked off after a one-year delay, are now coming to an end. And South Korea sent a record-high delegation of 1,140 athletes and officials seeking redemption after quite a disappointing result at the Jakarta Palembang Games in 2018. It previously said it would aim to win around 40 to 50 gold medals for third place behind host country China and Japan. Although there are still several events left, we would like to wrap up how Team Korea has done up until now. And for more on this, we invite our very own sports editor, Paul Neat. Hey, Paul.
Hello there.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
And we also welcome Nicholas Roca, a journalist from the Radio France International, into the studio. Nicholas, welcome.
Good to be here.
All right. Now, first question to our Paul. So the Asian Games are nearing their end. And up until now, how have Team Korea performed?
They've done well, I think. On target in terms of the rankings, obviously that top 3 finish was the aim. So finish at the moment, they are doing well. They're in that top 3. Time might be running out a little bit in terms of reaching that gold medal target. I know it was quite broad. It was, as you said, 40 to 50. So now I think it's around 35. So if they want to do better than they did last time, time might be running out. But I don't think we should get too fixated on those sort of numbers because, you know, it is nice to have targets like that and it creates a bit of focus for everybody involved. But there have been some great achievements nonetheless throughout this Asian Games. Korea's done well in some of the events that we expected them to do. Archery, of course, gold earlier today as well. And Se-young in badminton is through to the final for that as well. Football, of course, that Korea's won for the last 2 Asian Games, the final tomorrow. Baseball, so there's still stuff to come.
Right.
And yeah, it's been good. I think Korea at the moment is second in terms of the overall total medals, third when it comes to gold. So more or less on target, and I think there's been some very memorable moments.
All right, there's a lot still for us to look forward to, so let's wait and see. Now, Nicholas, let's delve a little bit deeper into specific events where South Korea was able to win gold medals. Now, first, in swimming, South Korea achieved an impressive record in swimming, winning a total of 22 medals, as far as I know. Could you tell us more about the achievements in swimming?
Yeah, a lot of the good results came thanks to Kim Woo-min, which is the freestyle swimmer. He managed to get four medals, 3 of them being gold ones in 400-meter freestyle, 800-meter freestyle. He came second on 1,500-meter freestyle. Overall, the relays did really good. I believe 6 relay races and 1 medal in every single one of them. One that was really notable was the 4-time 200-meter freestyle for the men that was won, and that set the new Asian record, which is a significant achievement. Amongst the 4 swimmers was Hwang Seung-woo that broke his own record on 200-meter freestyle, also taking the title. And Hwang won a medal in every single race he competed in. So yeah, there's been a lot of great results. Amongst them, the 4-time 100-meter medley woman relay that won the silver medal. I think 2 figures really speak for themselves. First of all, you said 22 medals.
Right.
Last time was only 6 in Indonesia. And more importantly, I think 12 new national records, which speaks a lot about the improvements of the Korean swimming team. And, you know, it might give a lot of hopes for the upcoming Olympics in Paris.
Right. We're going to talk about Olympics later on. But before that, it's so good to hear that. Now, Paul, fencing is also where Team Korea was able to see a streak of gold. It won 12 medals, and 6 of them were gold, and has now become the country with the most gold medals in the history of Asian game fencing. Could you tell us more about this?
Yeah, well, it could have been more gold, actually, as well, because obviously there was the women's sabre team was trying to defend their title from 2018. They lost to Japan, which would have hurt, obviously, losing to Japan, but they won a bronze medal in doing so. Similar story as well for the men's team, that they at least matched what they did in 2018. But even with these setbacks, as you say, they were able to sort of top the table for this sport. And it just goes to show how good Korea's fencers are, I think, at the moment. And there's 6 golds as well. I think the way that they were distributed, they had men's individual sabre, women's épée individual, women's sabre individual, men's team foil, women's team épée, and men's team sabre. It's men and women on all these different sort of disciplines within the sport. So it just shows that there's balance, growth and improvement there within the team there. So it's good. We've seen also a sort of passing over of the baton, if you will, with Oh Sang-ok and Gu Bong-gil. They obviously went ahead in the final, with Oh Sang-ok looking to try and beat somebody who was trying to aim for 4 straight golds at the Asian Games. So, yeah, it's been a lot to look forward to. And as Nicholas said as well, with the swimming, the Paris Olympics will be another opportunity for these guys to look for, to try and win more medals. And it's only a year away, or even less than a year away.
Right,
so these athletes are in their peak now. There's not long to go before they can sort of try and win even more medals next year. So.
Right, a lot to look forward to for next year's Olympics. Now, Nicholas, in some competitions, gold was won for the first time in 2 or 3 decades. For example, Jeon Ji-hee and Shin Yu-bin claimed gold in table tennis for the first time in 21 years. And also, the women's badminton team took gold for the first time since 1994. Could you tell us more about these wins?
Yeah, I think for starters, winning a gold medal in the Asian Games on those 2 sports, which are table tennis and badminton, is a really big achievement, as we know that usually in the Olympics it's mostly Asian athletes that go into the podium. So winning at the Asian game is a really good and positive sign, and it could almost be seen as a world championship. I mean, it's a very important achievement. Let's start with Jeon Ji and Shin Yu-bin that won at table tennis. They won against the North Korean team, which might make the victory even more special. They won the first 2 games, then the 2 North Korean women attempted a comeback, and then they didn't succeed, and they were able to snatch the victory, 4-1 in total. Globally, table tennis was quite a success. There were 8 medals, and Team Korea came short of the gold on a few different occasions, only to China, which is known as the biggest nation in table tennis. So it's been quite a promising success. The other long-awaited title that you mentioned was badminton, and Korea crushed China 3-0 in the team competition final to win the first Asian title in the sport since 1994, as you said. Team competition, it's an event composed of singles and doubles, and the star of the Team Korea that Paul mentioned, An Se-young, that led the way and won the first game, and then it was followed by the double and another single game. So yeah, it's been a couple of historic wins for Team Korea at this year's Asian Games.
All right, I see. Now, Paul, we have been talking about gold medals that we were able to win, but there was also an unfortunate event that turned gold into silver in the men's roller skating relay final. The men's team reportedly had to take silver because of the premature celebration by Jung Chul-won. Did you happen to see this event?
I did, yes. He obviously thought that he'd done enough to win, and it's easy to get wrapped up in the sort of emotion of it. If you've been getting ready for this event for years, and you think you've finally done it, you're there, but perhaps a rush of blood to the head from him in that regard. But he can't be too harsh. He said that he's sorry that he made a mistake, and he'll learn from this. But it's a racing event, and they can be decided by millimeters. You know what I mean? So I think if he can learn from it, and then he goes into the next tournament, or later in life, whatever he chooses to do, he'll learn that it's not over until it's over. But yeah, he came in the 3,000-meter relay, and he was only slightly ahead of Wang Yulin of Chinese Taipei. It wasn't as if he had a big lead. So it's kind of strange to see him celebrate so early. It wasn't as if he was several yards ahead. It was very, very short. But I think you have to give some sort of praise for Huang, because they were able to sort of seize on that opportunity. They had the intelligence to sort of stick a toe out, or the skate out, and see what happens. But for Jung Chul-won, it's cost him his military exemption and his teammate as well, and losing by 0.01 second just shows how close it was. But yeah, it's unfortunate. Hopefully people forget about it, and he can move on.
Yeah, I hope Chung does not get too disappointed by this incident. Now, as far as I remember, Nicholas, gymnast Kim Ha-sol had to take silver in the men's vault in 2018 games as he did not bow to referees by the rules. But this year, he did not get to go to the finals in vault, but he did get the second consecutive win for the men's floor exercise, right?
Yeah, which was his main objective, I believe. And this time he did make sure to bowl quite a lot. He even joked a little bit about it, which could be a lesson also for Jung, that he could learn from his mistake and go forward. But yeah, when it comes to Kim Ha-sol, he really competed flawlessly in the final. His main opponents was the Chinese Chang Bo-hung, and I mean the two of them were really tight when it came to points. But in the end, the Chinese wobbled a little bit, and in this discipline, of course, it can cost a lot of points. And on Kim's side, he executed perfectly, didn't make any mistake, was really thorough, and he made history because actually he became only the third Korean artistic gymnast to win at least one title in 2 straight Asian games. So another big and symbolic win.
Right. Kim's case shows how that we can always learn from our mistakes, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Now, Paul, we haven't talked about baseball and football. There are competitions that captivate South Koreans, of course, including me. And that being said, in baseball, South Korea is looking to win for the 3rd time, while football, it is aiming to win its 4th gold. How are things going on in these events?
Yeah, well, in terms of the baseball, Korea survived a bit of a scare earlier when they lost 4-0 to Chinese Taipei. But they got through to the super round, of course, and into the gold medal match, beating Japan along the way. So that'll be sweet for them, because Japan obviously one of the other favourites. So if you knock them out along the way, then you sort of the final will be a slightly bit easier. Obviously, they lost to Chinese Taipei, who they play in the final. So it's not quite exactly like that, but beating Japan would give them a lot of confidence heading into this gold medal match. But yeah, I think you just have to hope that they've learned from those mistakes that they made in that 4-0 loss to Chinese Taipei. But Won Tae-in, who plays for the Samsung Lions in the KBO, he was seen as really important in the win against China when they had that sort of convincing win against them. He was really keen in getting that win. He allowed just 3 hits in 6 innings that he was on the mound for. So he'll be very, very important for the baseball team. For football, yeah, well, it is 4 they're aiming for, but 3 in a row. Of course, they won here on home soil in 2014 and in 2018 in Indonesia. They've been very dominant, the football team, because they've the group stage, 3 wins from 3. They scored 16 goals with no goals conceded whatsoever. Dominant in the round of 16 against Kyrgyzstan. They won 5-1. 2-0 win over China in the quarters. That was more of a professional performance. I think they had to sort of weather a lot of aggression from the Chinese players, and I think there were some decisions that might have gone against them in terms of the referee. It was a similar story against Uzbekistan in the semis. They had a man sent off, but it could probably have been 2. There was a lot of spirited tackles, let's just say, from the opposition. But now it all comes down to the final tomorrow against Japan, just like it was 5 years ago. So military exemption on the line, but Korea have been so good in this tournament that I think they should be able to get the win. It might go to extra time again, like it did 5 years ago, but I think with the quality that they've got, and they've got a little bit of depth as well. They've got a lot of players who have played regularly in Europe and regularly for their teams in the K-League as well. And some players are really missed, because in the Asian Champions League, for example, there was match day 2 earlier this week. Jeonbuk lost away in Bangkok, and they had 4 players missing that were involved in the Asian Games, to show us how important that they are for their club and also for the under-23 team. So yeah, hopefully we do see more gold medals coming up. But in terms of the baseball, the Korea squad's quite young. Same with Japan too, because they didn't want to disturb their domestic leagues. It's heading into the sort of end of the season now. So it'll be even more of an achievement if they do win, because of how young and kind of relatively inexperienced that they are.
Are you going to watch tomorrow's match?
Oh, of course, of course.
How do you expect it to go?
The football, I think a narrow win.
I
wouldn't be surprised if we see extra time again, but hopefully not a penalty shootout, because it's just such a lottery.
All right, let's have our fingers crossed. All right, now, Nicholas, as we know, esports competitions were newly introduced for this year's Asiad, and Team Korea fought quite well, especially in League of Legends, Go, and Street Fighter V. Could you tell us more on this?
Yeah, I mean, it was not really a surprise that they did well, as it could, especially when it comes to League of Legends, could be considered a sort of national sports, was maybe archery. Korea won the gold medal against Taiwan, Chinese Taipei in League of Legends final, which earned quite notably the world-renowned player Faker. His real name is Lee Gyun-ryong, but it earned him his military exemption for him and his 6 teammates, which is quite important. And they will only have to compete, you know, do 3-4 weeks of training, a bit like Son Heung-min did, which is pretty significant given the level of those players and what they represent for their team in the Korean or Chinese league. Even though he also won the gold medal in Street Fighter V, Kim Kwon-ho won't win an exemption because he's 44, but it was quite an impressive win also. And lastly, in Go, in Padok, Korea did pretty good, brought a couple of medals. In a final against China, the men's team competition managed to get the gold medal, won the final. The women's team won the silver medal. And lastly, Shin Jin-so, the #1 Korean player in Go, won the bronze medal on Thursday. So pretty good also.
Well, I myself is a big fan of Faker, and I'm so happy that they won the game.
It's a relief.
Right. Well, okay. Now, Paul, I believe we talked about major sports events, but just in case I missed some noteworthy events, were there any other competitions or games that were worth watching for Korean fans?
Well, I mean, I'm more about what's coming up that I think is just as important. That's archery, because we've got more coming up over the weekend as well. So, as we know, archery is almost a national sport for South Koreans, and there's an all-Korean bronze medal match tomorrow morning in the men's individual compound event. That's between Ju Jae-hoon and Yang Jae-won. That's tomorrow morning. And then later in the day, we also have a bronze medal match in the women's recurve with Im Si-hyun against An San. Obviously, he was become a household name after the Olympics last time around. So. And then a bit later in the day, we've got Yu-sok in the men's recurve bronze medal match. So hopefully more medals to come. But Korea are very strong in archery, as we know, and it's always something to look forward to, especially with Im Si-hyun, who's the world #3 and also an Olympic record holder. And then An San is probably the most successful archer ever and world #5. So that match is going to be really interesting. And I think it's just one of those events that everybody can look forward to, because it's always brought a lot of happiness and joy and medals for South Korea. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Me too, looking forward to it. Now, Nicholas, we still have several events left, like our Paul said. But overall, how would you say this year's Asia was for Team Korea?
Well, I mean, I will subscribe to what Paul said in introduction in a way. I think there's been a lot of promises. Maybe the gold medal tally wouldn't be as high as we might have hoped, but there's a lot of possible gold medals coming up: baseball, football, archery. Of course, what is sure is that the record of 2002 in Busan is going to stay far away. But I think globally it's been pretty good. Korea, in a way, succeeded where it had to, and also showed some interesting promises. I think it was also a symbolic Asian game in a way, because last time in 2018 it was a completely different geopolitical atmosphere in a way. There were a couple of inter-Korean teams that won 4 medals, I believe, won gold medals in Dragon Boat, and also a silver medal in women's basketball. And we've seen quite a couple of tense year, in a way, inter-Korean games this year, which showed sometimes, you know, geopolitical tension can be felt in sports. Yeah, I think this was a symbolic aspect of those Asian games for Korea. But in a way, I think when it comes to the medals and how well the athletes did, I think there's a lot of hope and a lot to look into for the Olympics.
All right. Now, I believe this will be our last question, but I want to ask both of our experts. And since we have been keep talking about next year's Olympics, I'd like to ask you guys, how do you guys expect Asian athletes to perform next year? Paul, could you start us off?
Yeah, well, I think esports making its debut this time around in the Asian Games will sort of stand in good stead, I think, for the Olympics coming up, because obviously that'll be there at Paris 2024 as well. So with South Korea and obviously the Asian athletes or the Asian sort of gamers involved, they'll have had a tournament under their belts already taking into the Olympics, and then the others will see what the benchmark is at this level, you know. And also, I think there were two particular athletes I want to highlight, if I may. Hwang Sun-woo, obviously, who Nicholas talked about earlier. He's now turned those records into medals. You know, he's at that age now where he's still got a long career ahead of him, and the Olympics are only just around the corner. He will feel on top of the world now after the way that he's performed in the Asian Games. So for him as well, he'll be sort of chomping at the bit to sort of let's just go right now. Let's just start the Olympics right now. You know, and in fencing as well with Oh Sang-up, because like I said earlier, he prevented Gu Bong-gil from taking that 4th straight Asiad gold, and for him it was his first gold at the Asiad, and once he's got that sort of monkey off his back, if you will, he's got that out of the way, he's going to be sort of really confident heading into the Olympics next year. So I think the sports that the Asian athletes are known to be very good at, those are the ones that I'm going to be looking for, but yeah, those two in particular.
All right, so a lot to look forward to for swimming player Hwang Sun-woo and fencing player Oh Sang-up. All right, what's your view on this?
I mean, yeah, I think Asian athletes will perform well in a numerous number of sports that they historically did well in: table tennis, badminton, judo, archery, weightlifting, taekwondo. I think will be quite important for Korea, because Team Korea didn't succeed to win a gold medal in Tokyo. I'm pretty sure the athletes are going to be eager to correct that anomaly in a way. In Paris, there will be fencing, gymnastics. I mean, a lot of medal opportunity. I would be curious to see personally what will be the football squad of the Korean team. This under-23 team at the Asian Game looks very promising. There's a lot of talent. Lee Kang-in that is playing in Paris that I think has a lot of potential and of growth. It will also depend on who the manager decides to call, because as you may know, in the Olympics there are some players that are over 23 or 24 depending on the year that can be called. Last year, even those last Olympics, even though Son Heung-min was available, in the end it didn't come. But I mean, if we can imagine a Korean team with Kim Min-jae, the central defender of Bayern Munich, with Son Heung-min, with Lee Kang-in, and with all the young talents, I mean, you may never know. It could be a big surprise, even though I would personally still be in favor of a French win in France. I think I would really be looking at this Korean team. We know that the Olympics, especially in football, reserves a lot of surprise. So who knows? That could be a very big title for Korea.
All right, I see. A lot to expect. All right, well, unfortunately, this is all the time we have for today's edition. Thank you, Nicholas.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul, for your time and insights. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's all for Within the Frame tonight. We'll be next Tuesday with more in-depth stories. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the weekend. Goodbye.